Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and we've got lots to get into tonight. Obviously we've had this, fan forum shareholders meeting. We've had comments from Richard Arnold, John Murtagh, Darren Fletcher. You can get my reaction and your reaction to that. Also quite a few updates on younger players and some transfer stories to discuss as well. And also, probably more importantly, Rangnick's message to United's board. And on an evening where we're hearing about Haaland and Mbappe potentially going to Real Madrid, Rangnick has basically said to United's board, these are the players that you need to avoid as part of your way back and as part of your rebuild at this football club. So we'll be delving into that and the advice that Rangnick's given to this football club and whether we think they'll take it on board in light of some of the comments they've made about the club today, with some highlights such as we believe we have a world-class environment to win, empower leadership team to move the club forward. I mean, is that just normal shareholder bollocks or is it actually going to be listened to? We'll have to wait and see on that one, but lots to get into amongst other things as well. We'll be talking about a goalkeeper coming back to the club, another ex-player, what's going to happen with James Garner next season, a bit about Tchouaméni and a couple of other bits as well as the striker situation, which I really want to talk to you about as well. So lots to get into, but first of all, you might remember last week I had a Twitter space chat with a legend of football commentary, John Motson, and he's partners with fans.com to release his top 50 greatest games of all time. So today he's released his top 10, and it's kind of hard to argue with it, but at number one, and I'm sure you all saw it coming, I was quite surprised that Liverpool's comeback against AC Milan in 2005 Champions League final was his number one. Anyway, I've got a Twitter chat with Motti coming up in the next few days and on Twitter Spaces, and I want to take him to task on why he chose that game, but I need your help to come up with good alternatives. So get in the chat and let me know which game would be your number one all-time football match that you've watched, and I'm going to take some to him. We'll have a look at that. Just while I'm looking at some of the chat, fans.com is a pretty cool project, and if any of you guys are interested, each of these games are getting immortalized on the blockchain. So for more information on this, head to the description to find out more and let us know what your greatest game of all time is in the comments using hashtag Motti's Top 50. And if you want to keep up to date with what fans.com is doing, really exciting stuff, hit the link in the description and you can join the fans.com Discord. So really good, exciting projects that fans.com have got ongoing with John Motson, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, please do check the link in the description for that, which is in the description, which is great. Look, I don't think Liverpool's comeback against AC Milan in 2005 was anywhere near my favourite match of all time, and I suppose if you're a Liverpool fan, it is. I mean, I know a Liverpool fan I used to work with who said that they turned the game off at half time because they were 3-0 down and didn't turn it back on until it was 3-2. So they missed a bit of that. But, you know, for me, I'm talking about the greatest game of all time. You do want a lot of goals to be in it. And I think that for me, Manchester United, I mean, I loved Roma at home. That was a cracking game. That was absolutely amazing. So many goals in that. But yeah, there's got to be better games than Liverpool in the bloody Champions League. There's got to be. So yeah, let's see what people are saying. 99 FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal was a bloody brilliant game, Rory. It really was. It had everything. It had red cards, the lot. It was absolutely fantastic. So I might take him to task on that one. And Manchester United, there's a few for United, but I'm not having it for Liverpool, I'm not. Anyway, links in the chat if you want to get involved in that discussion, and check out this week I will be having a chat on Twitter Spaces with John Motson again. What's your favourite World Cup moment you saw live? Mine was Van Persie flying header against Spain, says Oz. My favourite World Cup memories are always like Italia 90 because I just felt that was the brilliant. The Gaza turn was amazing. Anyway, look, we could talk about that. Maybe we can talk about it a bit. 1999 second leg Juventus Champions League. That was a great game as well, Wayne Finnegan. That's two absolute classics. I don't think Manchester United against Bayern Munich was a great game. It was a great moment, but I don't think it was a great game. I would put the semi-final against Arsenal and the semi-final of the Champions League ahead of that in Turin, definitely. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Lots to talk about tonight. So, talking to a couple of people this afternoon post these comments that have come out from our chief executive Richard Arnold and also our chief scout, director of football, John Murtagh. Some really interesting comments from them that I just don't trust, but we'll go through it and we'll talk about it. But I was speaking to somebody this afternoon, in fact a couple of people this afternoon, and we were talking about, basically Manchester United. How many times have we heard over the last 9 years in these types of meetings that the club is absolutely dedicated to winning trophies? And it becomes tiresome. It becomes the boy who cried wolf. We want to win trophies, and you maybe believe it the first couple of times, but 9 years later, I don't. And there was even a line that I think it came from John Murtagh. Our aim is not to finish top 4, it's to win trophies. And I'm like, but that's not true, John. It's not true, is it, John? Your aim is to get top 4. Because that's what the Glazers want, because they want to make money. And I'll go back to what I said last night. If this football's club is to... Look, it's very simple. If this football club's aim is to win trophies, why are the Glazers still here? Why is Richard Arnold here? And why is John Murtagh still here? John Murtagh's been at this club since 2013. Richard Arnold's been here the same amount of time. The Glazers have been here longer than that. If your aim was to win trophies at this football club, why have you not sold it? Why have you not been sacked? Why have you not resigned and let other people have a go? Because your aim is not to win trophies. Your aim is to get top 4 and make money for the Glazers. And we spoke about this last night. If anybody actually really cared about this football club, they wouldn't sit in a job failing for 8-9 years. They'd have been sacked or moved on. This is just a scam. It's a massive, big scam. Our aim is to win trophies, and it comes out every year. And some fans fall for the scam. But we're not trying to win trophies. We're trying to get in the top 4 and make money for these owners. Because as I said last night, if these owners genuinely cared about Manchester United like I do and you do, I'd have sold the club. I'd have sold the club to somebody else because I've had my chance and I've failed. But they won't sell the club because it's a massive money maker. Anyway, so I was having this chat this afternoon. I was getting a bit heated like that, and I was saying, I'm just fed up of it. It's the same old spin, it's the same old thing. Buy shirts, sell season tickets, get brands in. We want to win trophies. It's just words. There's no substance to it. It's just words. I want to be a millionaire. I want to drive a Ferrari. I want to write an Oscar-winning script. I want to star in bloody EastEnders. I can say those words. I'm not going to do any of those things. But Manchester United are allowed to do it every year. Well, we want to win trophies. That's our aim. Well, bloody go and win them then. You've got more resources than anybody else. So I was having this chat, and then this is where the Rangnick thing comes into it. Because I was having this chat, and they said, well, basically, Rangnick has given that club a lot of advice, and he's telling them how to go about it. And I was like, come on then, humour me. What do you think Rangnick's telling them? And they said, well, it's not what Rangnick, it's not what I think, it's what we know. I mean, the evidence is out there already, what we know, but also, obviously, there is stuff that's going around sort of the journalistic world about what Rangnick has advised Manchester United to do. And one of the core principal things he's told them to do is stop going after 80, 90, 100 million pound players and start looking at volume players. Start looking at first, second contract players, which is what we already know with Rangnick. We spoke about this 3 months ago. Man United versus Real Madrid 4-3, 02-03 season. Yes, was that the Ronaldo hat-trick? Dean. I remember a few games with Real Madrid that were very, very good. I wanted to ask, we say our club is run by bankers and finance people. What about others? City, Chelsea, others. I found they are run by people from finance as well. Are all clubs run the same, says Akshay? Well, you're wrong there, Akshay. They're not actually run by financial people. They're run by football people. Have you got the Youth Champions League on? Good start from the lads. It's on BT Sport if anyone else is wanting to watch. No, Joshua, I'll probably watch the highlights later, to be honest. I always put the United stand first. We're live at night at 8 o'clock every night unless there is a first team match on, and my focus is with you. So if people want to tell us in the updates, that's absolutely fine. But look, basically what Ralph Rangnick has told this football club is that they need to, as I said, I'm seeing things tonight about Mbappe and Haaland potentially going to Real Madrid. Rangnick has basically told the club not to go for those sort of players because that's not what you need to do. Now, Rangnick's a big admirer of Haaland and he's probably a big admirer of Mbappe. But what he's basically saying to the club is, if you've got an option of getting Erling Haaland there and Mino Raiola's knocking at your door with a 150 to 200 million pound package and saying he will come if you give us that money, you should close the door and say he's a great player. Let's go and see if someone else will buy him. Because that 150 million pounds could buy you 4 first team players better than what you've got at the moment. And that is basically what Ralph Rangnick is advising the board to do. He's basically saying, stop buying the Pogbas, stop buying the Ronaldos, stop buying the Di Marias, stop buying the Harry Maguires in relation to there's nothing wrong with those players, but their fees are astronomical. Even the Jadon Sanchos, that it takes your ability to rebuild away. This is why. And it was a really interesting conversation, because what was basically being told was that this is why United didn't buy a midfielder last year. They know they needed a midfielder, but they'd spent their money on Sancho, Ronaldo and Varane, and there was nothing left for a midfielder. And that is basically what Rangnick's telling them. And it's interesting, because we were talking about this 2 weeks ago. If you go and buy Declan Rice for £80 million and you buy a striker for £50 million, that's it, it's gone. £130 million is gone. Now, if you don't buy Declan Rice and you buy, I don't know, Tchouaméni or Ruben Neves for 40 million, you've got another 40 million as well as the 50 million for a striker. You've got 3 players instead of 2. And that is basically what Rangnick is saying. And this is what Rangnick's a master of. You know, he can probably get Nkunku from Leipzig for 40 million. He'll find a midfielder for 40 million. He'll find you a striker for 40 million. You've got 3 players to go in the first team and compete for 120 million in 3 key positions. So it's just whether United are going to take this on board. But the way back, I think it says the way back on the thumbnail. And look, we have to find a positive. You know, somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, you're always so negative, Mark. I used to love it when you were positive." And I said, but I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not happy with Manchester United. I don't care whether you're positive or negative. It's up to you. But I am not happy. I can't fake it. I can't come on the show and go, "Hello, everybody. It's great. We're going to be back." I really don't know what the way back is. But there has to, you know, there's no point. I don't just like sitting down and being miserable. And that's why having this chat this afternoon, I wouldn't say I was encouraged by it. But I just hope the club are going to listen to him, because it's something many of you have discussed and I've discussed as well, is the way back is a long way back. It's a long road. If the mountain summit is above us, I still think we're rolling down the hill. We've got to stop. We've got to grab on. Basically, we're rolling down the mountain. Some people think we're climbing up. We're not. We're rolling down the mountain. We need to get one of them big hooks and just smack it into the rock and hold ground for a minute and recover and breathe and go, shit, that was a big fall. I've really hurt my arse and my back. Oh my God, look at the scratch on my knee. But just whack that thing in and hold your ground. Hang there for a bit. Just hold your ground and go, take a deep breath and go, Jesus Christ, I never thought I was going to stop. And then as you get a bit more energy, get your other hook out and start, find some good land, find a path back. And that's what United need to do. Because at the moment, we're just tumbling out of control. So they need to take this advice on board. And it's encouraging because, as I said, we know Rangnick likes to recruit first or second contract players, which roughly translated means he wants to buy players aged between 19 and 24. That's what he wants to buy. Because they're reasonably priced in the main. And they're hungrier. And that's what he wants Manchester United to do. Whether we can get Manchester United to do that leads into what was said by the board. But I wanted to start on Rangnick's message to the board, because some people would say, well, it's very obvious he's doing that. But are they going to listen to him? And in a sense, you know, I listen to people like Adam when he's on the fan forum, who's a big fan of Rangnick. We've not even seen the real Rangnick. We've seen glimpses of the real Rangnick, but we've not even seen what we're seeing with Rangnick at the moment is him making the most out of a mess. Imagine if he could actually have an input on what we would be. If Rangnick did stay in charge of United in one shape or form over the next 2 years, you'd look back on this and go, God, look at what we are now. We would have players within his mould. We'd have a different type of squad and a demograph. The squad would become younger and hungrier, and it would become more athletic and dynamic compared to what it is now. I think United's squad at the moment is lazy, inconsistent and quite slow. We need a manager, a CDM, a forward. Why do we need a director of data science that doesn't win matches? Players with passion do, says Andy Cheetham. And Yell want Mark to be like Ty. No way, Mark's a realist, says Jazz. I don't know what the reference is there. But look, so on that platform, you can take it as read that Ralph Rangnick has said to Manchester United, the way back for you is to stop spending big amounts of money on one player. And if you've got 150 million, you need to get 4 players in who can go into your first team. And I can show you how to do that. Because United probably go, how'd you get 4 first team players with 150 million? Leave it to Uncle Ralph. I've got my little black book. It's full of young and second contract players in there. I will get you a striker for 50. I will get you a midfielder for 35. I will get you another midfielder for 40. You know, and he will. He will. They might not be players that sell shirts, but he will. And that's the thing, isn't it? Will United allow will United go down that path? The club are looking to appoint a deputy director of football. If they appoint one with actual expertise, then we know they are serious, willing to listen to Ralph, says Dan. We'd love it to be Paul Mitchell. But let's have a look at what the club actually said today. Now, look, I apologise. It's coming from the club. You might not believe it. I'm not sure I do. But there has to be a way back. These sort of things, obviously, remember, we've got a new chief executive now in Richard Arnold. He spoke about, integrating the fans into the club. Well, I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see you, the fans, more involved in the club. My fear is that I see it on a daily basis. There is a big division in this fan base. There is a hierarchy in the fan base. There is a feeling that some people are real fans and some people aren't fans. I mean, in a world that we're living in at the moment, I can't believe we have these barriers in a football club like Manchester United. But Manchester United have a responsibility to break down those barriers. And it's all right having representatives from season ticket holders, but where's your representatives from India? Where's your representatives from America? That's what this fan base is. You take their money, they're a fan of this football club. And this football club's very good at making massive amounts of money from worldwide brands, but then going, well, just listen to the match day going fans, who then think they're better than every other fan. And I'm not saying match day fans think they're better. Maybe some do. But what I'm saying is the club hold them up as better. And yet, you want to take the money off everybody else. So I never trust the club when they say they're speaking to the fans. And also there's that perception of those fans who are talking to the club are basically in bed with the Glazers, who most people really don't want in charge. So it's a tough path to tread. And I'm interested to see how United are going to tread that path, because basically these people who do get invited as fans to integrate into the club, they've then got to say to the rest of the fan base, trust me, I'm talking to the Glazers and they're good. And that's a difficult path to tread. So let's see what happens on that. But on more important issues, this is what they spoke about. As I said, this is coming from John Murtagh, Director of Football, Head of Football Development since 2013. Aim is not top four, it's trophies. Well, as I said, I've already said my piece on that. I mean, I aim to have a lasagna tonight at 9 o'clock. I've got no mince. It takes over an hour to cook. You've got to prep it. I'm not having a lasagna at 9 o'clock, but I aim to have one. United can aim to have trophies, but, it's like Stevie Wonder aiming to hit a bullseye from 50 metres away. He's not going to hit it, is he? And Manchester United can aim. To be honest, I think I actually would have appreciated John Murtagh coming out today and saying, look, we have to hold our hands up. Things have not gone to plan, and where we are at the moment is a situation that nobody wants us to be in. It would be very easy for me to sit here and say, look, we aim to win the Premier League in the next 2 years, but at the moment, the next 6 months is crucial. We have to get the managerial appointment right. We have to get the summer recruitment right, and when we come back in August, I'll be in a much clearer position to say what our aims are. But at the moment, clearly the aims we had at the start of the season have not been met, and I would be arrogant and naive to not acknowledge that, take responsibility for that, and say that the next 6 months is when we decide what our aims are going to be. But no, you don't get that, because they're talking to shareholders, they're talking to forums, and it's like, our aim's not top four, our aim is to win trophies. And to be honest, I find that whole statement completely arrogant and uncalled for. I'd actually prefer some honesty of, hold on a minute, at the start of the season, we were going to be in a title race. That was the club's message. 3 years ago, it was a 3-year plan to win a title. You were here. Arnold was here. Woodward was here. Why are you now coming out saying our aim's not top four, it's to win trophies? Can we not get... There's never any accountability at Manchester United. You know what? If you were a bit accountable and you were a bit honest, you'd probably get more respect. People get respected when they say they're wrong and they take it. You do. I think the way United try and run is that they'll never acknowledge a mistake, and it's always this spin to look good. And as I said, I would have been very, very appreciative if he'd have come out and said, look, I'm not going to set aims about what we want to do. Of course, we want to see Manchester United winning major trophies, but the reality is we haven't won one for 5 years. We have opportunities this season, but we need to get a new manager in the summer. We need a big summer. I think by the start of our aim in the short term is to be in a position in next August where we can say, right, our aim is to go and win trophies. But right here, right now, We've got an interim manager who's doing a great job. Where we thought we were going to be, we're not. So we need to take that on the chin. But the club would never do that. So that's why you do. Well, I can only speak for myself. I do get tired by the whole, wow, we don't want top four, we want to win trophies. I definitely heard this in 2014, and I've probably heard it every year since then. It doesn't mean anything, because in fact, I personally believe it's just, and I've heard this from the corridors of power at United from Ed Woodward's reign, is that they perceive fans as hysterical. They perceive fans as, flip-flops. And that's fine. Some people think football fans are flip-flops, but who are you to say that we're flip-flops? Who are you to say that we're hysterical? You're in charge. You're dictating this situation. And I think you say, oh, just tell them our aim is not top four, it's to win trophies, and they'll love that. But we've been told it so many times. Who do you want as striker? Love from India, says Divaj. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I think it's a good comment. Good comment, that. Jazz, I don't know what you're talking about. Boohoo Man chewable tobacco. He's on one tonight, old Jazz. But the second part they said is they went on to say that they believe they are creating a world-class environment at Manchester. They bwe they are creating a world-class football environment. This came from Richard Arnold, who is the chief executive. We believe we are creating a world-class football environment. We have a clear vision and a strategy to win, which is an empowered leadership team to drive that forward. So they believe they're creating a world-class football environment. They've got a clear vision. They've got a strategy to win, and that's empowered by a leadership team to drive that forward. I don't know whether anybody's worked in banking, corporate world or anything like that, but this is the sort of crappy sort of PowerPoint Monday meeting you normally get when you're working for a big banking institution or a private sector organisation. Clear vision, strategy to win, empowered leadership. What's empowered leadership? Are you walking around with a bloody He-Man sword on your back? Clear vision. Oh, have you been down Specsavers and you don't need glasses? Strategy to win. What, you've been playing Football Manager for a couple of weeks? They're not football words. They're for bloody brands. They are. Clear vision, strategy to win, empowered leadership team, world-class football environment. What? Tell me what a regista is. And it ain't somebody who goes and gets you a coffee. They just talk absolute business buzzword nonsense. It really is. I was listening to it and I thought, right, world-class football environment. Where's that then? Where does that live? Where's your world-class football environment? Because you've got Darren Fletcher coming out this morning saying that he's a technical director and that's his job. And a technical director is technical things. It's not putting the cones out, right? So he's a technical director. He's there to support John Murtagh in the technical direction of the football club. A strategic overview role, basically. But he's then said that we've lost Nicky Butt, Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna. So he's gone onto the training ground to support Ralph Rangnick, and also he's there to help the transition from youth team to first team, which was Nicky Butt's job. So Darren Fletcher's the technical director, but he's also doing Kieran McKenna's job and Michael Carrick's job and Nicky Butt's job, as well as being a technical director. This is not Rochdale. This is Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. And we're using somebody who's got no CV, by the way. He only came to Manchester United a year ago. He's technical director. He's putting the cones out. He's helping the youth team. It's but then you've got Richard Arnold saying, we're creating a world-class football environment. And I'm like, you contradict yourself all the time. Darren Fletcher's got more caps on him than a three... No, I'm not going to say that. But they contradict themselves. World-class football environments. You've got Darren Fletcher doing 3 jobs. You've got an interim coach. You've got most coaches that should have been sacked with Ollie, but you couldn't do it. You've got a guy coming over from America on a short-term deal who'll probably be gone in the summer. Not even starting on the team. So, it would all, everything Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh said would be great if there was any trust or evidence there. But it's just words. It's just words. And what's this clear vision? I want to know what your clear vision is, because it's been anything, it's been anything but clear over the last 9 years. Strategy to win. What's that? Put the ball in the back of the net? What's your strategy to win? Because ultimately, your strategy to win on the pitch is winning games of football, which we're not doing at the moment. And an empowered leadership team to drive that forward. Well, who's the leadership team? Who is the leadership team to drive this forward? Because we haven't got leadership on the pitch. We certainly haven't got it in the boardroom. So it's just, I really, really hope that this will work. I really do hope it will work. I think sometimes people confuse negativity with, pessimism. I really want it to work, but when I hear words like empowered leadership team, that's the board. Well, it's the same board we've had for 9 years. The only thing that's changed is Ed Woodward's retired or left, and it's the same people. So, excuse me if I'm a little bit negative in relation to whether I trust it. My only trust and hope is that they're going to listen to Ralph Rangnick, in which case maybe things can change based on what we were talking about at the start. Sean Turner says, a world-class environment. We have leaks, the squad is split, players aren't allowed to leave, don't know who the manager's going to be, these clowns are laughable. Well, yeah, you've been a bit more blunt than I have, Sean, but I don't disagree. I'm an intern and to be a chartered accountant, and I'll agree with you here, these words are nonsense. We don't have a plan for a manager, says Akshay. Well, didn't somebody also say, I don't have it written down here, so I don't know whether I'm 100% right here, but I'm pretty sure, going back on what Akshay said there, because I worked in banking for about 2 years as well, that clear vision, strategy, empowered, all these words are, definitely from the corporate world, which United is. We're a brand, we're not a football club. But I'm pretty sure I heard today, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if anyone's got the quote, I'm pretty sure I heard from that meeting today, let me pronounce it right, a holistic view. Holistic view. We're taking an holistic view of things. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it's like, I'm back in banking. Let me out. Get this tie away. United's always selling the future. We've been rebuilding since Moyes. Now it's creating bollocks, says Kay. And Mark, not enough is said about this. We are putting our hopes in Ralph steering the ship and think that Woodward is going to gone, but both will be consultants, says Danny Palmer. Yeah, I agree. Fans need to realise they only want Poch and top four, says Tom Wilson. Yes, I agree. I think that Kay makes a great point as well, and we maybe haven't spoken it on here. We maybe haven't spoken on it here today, but I did hear this today as well. That I can't remember who said it, whether it was Murtaugh or whether it was Fletcher or whether it was Arnold, and they did say that they believe that they've built things over the last few years that have put the club in a strong position, and they mentioned the women's team and the youth team and things like that. Look, not everything United have done is bad. There are good people in that place, but ultimately the first team is very, very bad. And I go back to the Ollie period, because what it feels like to me under the Ollie, 3 years Ollie was here, and I said it to Paul Ince this morning, I think we lost 3 years. We went backwards, but throughout that whole 3 years, whether it was ex-players who had his back, whether it was mainstream media who had his back, or the club and Ollie who had each other's back, and the players, they sold us a dream for 3 years. All we ever heard was a cultural reset. Everything's getting back on track. We're heading in the right direction. And as soon as Ollie goes, you realise, bloody hell, the splits in that dressing room, it all fell apart. Everyone realised they didn't have to lie anymore, and it just all fell apart. The football, the coaching, the lack of development of players, which irritates me. But they sold us the future for 3 years. And actually, we were going backwards. They told us this vision for the future. It's like sat nav, take me to London. Oh, yeah. Straight down this road for 40 minutes, then take a right. There's service stations all the way if you want a little break. And then what we've not noticed is, instead of being 100 miles from London, we're actually going in the wrong direction. We're now 200 miles away. But they told us we're heading in the right direction, and we weren't. We weren't heading in the right direction at all. We were heading backwards. And that's what United do. They sell you the future, but you can't, literally, I cannot trust them, because I've heard this for 3 years. Oh, Ollie's the right man, and we're heading in the right direction. Cultural reset. Everything's. It's, the most important thing is that everyone's getting on with each other. We've got the DNA back in the club, and everything's gonna come to fruition. And it all came crashing down. So they've got to start. I don't know why the brands believe them, really. There's an upcoming investors meeting. No wonder they're checking out all this positivity in the build-up, says Joshua Bowwater. It's basically perceive, believe, achieve. Zero substance, says Ash. And we have needed a rebuild even before Sir Alex Ferguson retired. The squad was aged, says Marcellino. And we don't need any new board members. We need to hire a monk to perform rituals on our players before matches. Extra ritual on Maguire, says Jazz. Oh, he's really at it tonight. But I don't know. I mean, is everybody in the corporate world thick and stupid? Because I don't know why the shareholders in the shareholders meeting sit there like nodding dogs going, yes, yes, yes. But I do. Because the people in the shareholders meetings, they're not United fans. They are there to make money. So, you know what? We get fed what the shareholders get fed. In the shareholders meeting, they can say things like, revenue's up, we expect it to go up, the value in the club's going to go up, and you're a shareholder, so your value in the club's going to go up. It's not about performing on the pitch. Manchester United have made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds without winning trophies. And that's what the aim will always be. So when John Murtagh says the priority is not top four, it's to win trophies, I say, where are the trophies, John? Where are they? Where are these trophies, John? 2017 Europa League final, Ajax. It feels a long time ago, because it is. It's 5 years ago. Where are the trophies, John? Where is the priority, John? And why are you still here, John, if that's the priority? Because we're not winning trophies, John or Richard. We're not winning trophies. So why are you still in a job? Why do you keep coming out every year telling us about what the priority is and then you don't deliver it? If my postman doesn't deliver my Amazon parcel, there's a complaint and he gets the sack. But you keep telling me you're going to deliver it and you never do. And is that I know that's a bit of a silly analogy, but is that not the world we live in? You're told you're going to get something and you don't get it. So you ring up and say, you told me I'm going to get this, where is it? Oh, it's our priority, it's going to get delivered. Okay, let's see. Week later, it's still not here. Still not here. Well, but it is our priority. Can you just get out of that job and get someone who can deliver it, please? Well, no, because I'm making good money. Yeah, cause you're full of crap, aren't you? Hi, Mark. I'm worried about next season. Players will leave who will replace them. This statement is just papering over the craps. If you want to win trophies, you need right team and leaders in the squad, says Mohammed. And don't you think Arnold should be given a clean slate? If he engineered Rangnick, he surely values him. I'll bet on hit this. We will get Ten Hag next, says Akshay. Akshay, you can do what you want to do. Anybody can do what they want to do. And, it's a good point. It's a good point. I always believe in second chances, apart from very severe circumstances, of course. And, Richard Arnold's new in the role. He needs to learn the mistakes. But I'll say this now, and we'll see what happens. Even if Richard Arnold's good at the job, and let's be fair to him, he's not been the CEO before, but he has been Woodward's right-hand man for however many years. I think they went to uni together, didn't they? Did Richard Arnold and Woodward go to uni with Matt Judge? These people have been friends for decades. So it's not like he's a brand new person coming into the job. It's his mate. They've worked together for years and years and years. But he's new in the role. Maybe he wants to do it differently. But I don't think, even if Richard Arnold wanted to do the job the way you wanted to do it, he will be able to do it. And the mistakes we've made in the past, and oh God, I've seen the tweets. That there was a gif of the doors opening and Ed Woodward walking in like a boss. And people used to put it out there when he bought Pogba or when he bought Ronaldo back. And it's like, yeah, fans can be easily led. Even if Richard Arnold delivers Ten Hag, I can still see us being in a position in 18 months where we're sacking Ten Hag because he hasn't had the resources like Mourinho and Van Gaal and Rangnick, I'm worried about the future. But the path forward for me, because we have to try and find a positive, the path forward for me is to give Rangnick as much control as he can as director of football and then bring in a Ten Hag and give him as much control as he can as well, and for him and Rangnick to have a shared responsibility and vision, and to have total control on the transfer window, on ins and outs. And if they say Ronaldo needs to go, Harry Maguire needs to go, Paul Pogba's gone anyway, and you know what, Rashford needs to go, the club need to go, fine. And their end of the lesson. That's never going to happen. They're never going to let Ronaldo go if he wants to stay. They're never going to let Maguire go because the money would be too much. And they're never going to let Rashford go because he's come through the youth setup and he's too important. And that's what I mean. Can you imagine Pep Guardiola saying at the end of the season, okay, I want Diaz to go. We've fallen out. It's time to get De Bruyne out, and I want Edison to go as well. I've seen something else I like. Do you think the board at Man City would go, we love De Bruyne, he's not going anywhere? They wouldn't do that. They would let Pep have total control. But at United, and I'm only using people as examples, I'm not saying we should sell Rashford, Maguire and Ronaldo. You know how I feel about two of those players. I wouldn't want them to go. But I'm using them as an example because we know this has already happened. Mourinho wanted Martial to be sold and the Glazers said no. So you can get all excited about if Rangnick was given control with Ten Hag, but you also know if they said, look, for this club to find its way back, these players need to go, the board would say, no, we're not selling them. So how will we ever succeed with this board? And you can have as many fan representatives as you want. You can talk about shares as much as you want. You can talk about clear, empowered management teams as much as you want. You can bring the manager in that you want. You can have Rangnick as the director of football if you want. You can have £150 million to spend if you want. But it's not just about spending. We've spent £1 billion over the last 9 years and we are still in a bad position. What we've been really bad at is selling players and being ruthless. You know, we're bad at selling players that need to go, the deadwood. But a manager must be able to walk in. And look, if I'm manager of Manchester United, Jimbo says stupid is a bit of an overstatement, but at least here in the US, it's common for shareholders to know little to nothing about the companies they invest in. They try to feed fans the same bullshit, says Jimbo. If I was Manchester... Look, I'm not saying I should be Man United manager, and I'm not saying Eric should be Manchester United manager. He says, Ralph Rangnick don't know what Fletch does, don't know his role. No, he didn't. But let's run a little exercise. I'm going to pretend I'm the manager of Manchester United. You can pretend you're the manager of Manchester United. So everybody just get into that mindset for a minute, okay? We're all managers of Manchester United. We've all been... We're the manager. Forget Poch, forget Ten Hag. They want United Adrian. They want Stefan 21. They want Alan Wallace. They want Mark Goldbridge. We're not doing it together. You're going to be the manager. I'm going to be the manager. And we're the manager in the summer, right? What are you doing when you start on June the 1st? Get that into your mind, right? So I'm going in on June the 1st. And look, I'll be honest because this is football. This is a footballing reason. Based on the last 3 years, can you get me a centre-back who is quick? In the mould of a Konate or a Matip or a Van Dijk, someone like that. You know, maybe this Akanji guy. You know, I need a centre-back to play next to Varane. And I want Lindelof and Bailly to be my backups. And I'm going to rotate those four. And I need you to sell Harry Maguire. I know he's had a bit of bad press and I think some of it's over the top. But he's just not the sort of centre-back for me. And I'm never going to play a back five. And I don't want to play a high line. I don't want to play a low line. I'm never going to use him. If Akanji or Varane gets injured, I'm going to use Lindelof or Bailly. So Maguire's got to go. Well, no, we're not doing that. Right, okay, why am I manager then? Because we want you to do well, but we've got players that we need to keep. Well, I'm not the manager then, am I? And that's the problem. And I could give you 4 or 5 other players where they'd say no. And how can a manager ever truly be successful if they don't have total control of the team? And this will be the problem. And this is what I mean when we talk about empowered leadership teams to drive it forward. Clear vision, strategy to win. How can you have a strategy to win when you won't let a manager manage? When you're basically saying to a manager, oh, I know you've done a great job at Ajax and you play this high pressing, attacking football, but can you do it with people that aren't very good at pressing and are quite slow? Well, it's a bit like trying to win a race with 3 wheels, isn't it? When it's a 4-wheel car or a puncture. We've been on about this for years. whether it's David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, even Ralph Rangnick, every manager that comes to United does it with at least one arm tied behind their back. And that will always be the problem. I don't know whether it was on a show or whether it was talking to somebody about this in the last 24 hours, but I've definitely had the conversation. This was the conversation. I've got it. Okay, I forgot this bit. So this came from, I think it came from Murta today. It could have been Arnold, but it got me thinking this exact point. So I hadn't spoken to anybody. I'd spoken to myself, as I'm sure we all do. Basically, either Murta or Arnold said today, there's going to be a thorough process for us to get the coach to get us back challenging for top trophies. And I went, alarm bells, ding, 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 ding. Passing the buck, scapegoat, cycle of Manchester United. I thought, oh my Christ, here we go. This is it. Okay, so we're going to go through Manchester United are going to go through a thorough, probably taking a holistic view. They're going to go through a thorough process to get the coach to get us back challenging for top trophies. And I was like, oh my God, how many people are they going to hook? Gullible fish going, I'm like, that's it. That's it. When it goes wrong, Van Gaal, it was your fault. Get out. When it goes wrong, Mourinho, get out. When it goes wrong with Ollie, get out. You know, it's always the manager's fault, isn't it? It's always the manager's fault. The press blame the manager. The club throw them under the bus. You know, the players throw them under the bus. They get it three ways. Press, club, players, even fans. You know, they get it absolutely from all angles. And it's always the manager. Now, traditionally, that's probably right. You know, if you look at a Mancini at Man City or a Pellegrini at Man City, you can't really complain. You've had so much bloody money and support and you've not done what they want. Bye-bye. Same at Chelsea, you know. Sometimes it's a bit harsh when they get the sack, but they know what they want. You've not delivered. We're giving you the money. Lampard, off you go. At United, it's universally understood and accepted that you don't get what you want. We just did the example there. Can I get rid of that player? No, you can't. Can I sell Martial? No, you can't. Okay, so you want me to do the job that you won't let me do, and then you're going to throw me under the bus when I fail. Yep. Okay. And they're doing it again. The gap between the future and our history is getting wider and wider. It dilutes the current, says Megan's dad. Keno said that the board need to pay for the right manager and players if they want to win. The way he sounded like he called them all out, says AJ Singh. Well, it's true. And as an American, it's the worst thing for football to be involved with corporate America. Manchester United is a victim, says Fafana. Well, you know, as soon as I heard this line, and I've given you a couple of minutes to think it through, this came from, I think I think it was Murta, but it could have been Arnold. We want to get a coach to win it, to get us back challenging for top trophies. And I was like, they're doing it again. They're doing Mourinho, Ollie, Van Gaal again, and Moyes. They're putting it all on the manager so that when it goes wrong, they can go, oh, it was their fault, and they sack them. How can you say we want to get a coach to get us back challenging for top trophies when it's an impossibility for a coach to come into Manchester United and get us winning top trophies on their own? There is no coach in world football that can come in and do that job over the last 9 years better than what's happened. There is no coach that would have got us any better than where we are now over the last 9 years. And yet we've had 4 coaches. And therefore it shows you the problem. All right, those coaches made mistakes. I'm sure they did. Some of them weren't the right coaches. But if I know any coach over the last 9 years was going to fail, Klopp didn't want the job. Clever Klopp. He didn't want the job because he probably saw what would happen. Failure. You cannot appoint a manager at this football club and say, we want a manager that's going to win us top trophies. You're responsible for it. You're probably more important in it. Because if you don't let that manager have total control, they won't win a trophy. But you will never give them total control. So is that how naive and stupid our board is? They think you can appoint a manager and he's going to win you trophies under the current regime of the last 9 years? Or are they actually quite clever? And they go, we're appointing a manager to win us trophies. We'll keep doing what we've done for the last 9 years. When he fails in 2.5 years, we'll sack him and we'll go through this process again. In the meantime, we'll hopefully get top 4, make a bit of money. You can't trust them, can you? They're either really, really stupid or they're really, really clever. And I can't really figure out which way it is, but I tell you now, you get in the comments, you tell me a manager right now that comes in to this job and wins us top trophies. Tell me how a manager, and who that manager is, wins us even a Champions League or one Premier League. The best analogy for United is like Hamilton versus Verstappen. A great driver and a shit car would our race beat a good manager and a good car, says Daniel Shabar. And just got broken up with a few days back. Your content helps me forget the pain. Thanks, Mark. Hoping we get better owners somehow, says Aditya. I'm sad to hear that, Aditya, but get back on that horse and ride it. We've all had heartache, and I've never been dumped personally. I mean, look at me. But, I have dumped other people, and, I've regretted it a bit sometimes when, you've got nothing to do on an evening. But, ultimately I've heard of people who've been dumped before, and it isn't very nice. And, the heart will heal quickly. And, it probably wasn't the right relationship for you anyway. So stay strong, and you've got the community here for you. So great. I'm trying not to laugh because I'm lying, really. I was just doing it for a bit of a laugh, really. I probably have been dumped. I have been dumped. I got dumped when I was about 9. Basically, my mate was going out with this girl at primary school. He got the mumps and he was off for 2 weeks. So we started hanging around a bit together, playing Thundercats and stuff. And anyway, at the end of the 2 weeks, she gave me a kiss on the cheek and she said, "Will you be my girlfriend?" So I was like, okay, because I'd always quite liked her. He came back to school on the Monday and she was kissing him on the cheek. So I said, "What's going on here then?" And she went, "Oh, that was just a 2-week thing." And I was like, "Oh, great, okay. See you later." Anyway, so yeah, where were we? So yeah, is there a manager that can? Is there a manager, in your opinion, that can get us to win the league? I'm throwing it to you. I mean, I always throw it to you, but I'm throwing you that ball. Is there a manager that can come into Manchester United and win us the title? Because I'm really intrigued by this Manchester United process to get us back challenging and winning top trophies. A coach to do that, because the coach can only do that if they've got total control. And we go back to what we were talking about before. Can a coach walk in and answer the question? Can a coach come into this club and say, "Sell Rashford," or "Sell Maguire," or "Sell Ronaldo," or "Sell Bruno"? I'm not saying they need to sell them, but if Jurgen Klopp came into this club and he said, "You know what? I can't stand Bruno Fernandes. I know he's got good stats. I can't stand him. I want Nkunku from Leipzig. Sell Bruno to Real Madrid." If he wants to do that, he should be allowed to do it. Whether we agree with it, whether the board agree with it, he should be allowed to do that. He never would be allowed to do that. So how can you say, "Let's get a coach who's going to win us the trophies," but then say to that coach, "But you can't sell certain people"? You know what? There's names being mentioned. Pep's been mentioned. Klopp's been mentioned. Conte's been mentioned. Southgate's been mentioned for a laugh. I'm going to tell you now, in my humble opinion, there is no coach in world football, even from the past, who can win a title at Manchester United. I don't even think prime Sir Alex Ferguson could win a title with this team at the moment, because that team's not good enough to win a title. He'd need to sell some of those players, because if you keep them, it's going to be toxic, because they need dropping, and then it's toxic for the new players. The club wouldn't let him sell the players he wants. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't think there's a manager, past or present, who can win with that United setup. Unless, and look, maybe somebody somewhere at United might hear this, they probably won't. There is a manager out there that can win a title for Manchester United. Oh, what's this? Goldbridge is being positive. Well, there is. There's always a way. There's always a way. We might not like it, but there's always a way. There is a way Man United can win league titles. There is a way that Manchester United can win Champions Leagues. You know what that way is? Get rid of the Glazers. No, that's easy. But the Glazers could still win a Premier League. They could still win a Champions League again. Do you want to know how they do it? They go, this manager, who is a very good manager, has total control. If he says he doesn't want an £80 million centre-back or a £50 million right-back or a player from the youth setup because they're not good enough or part of his plan, we let them go. Even if it means we take a hit. Even if it means we sell the £80 million player for 50 million, or we sell the £50 million player for 25 million, even if we have to take the hit, we're heading in the right direction. That is the way back for Manchester United. Rangnick's half right. Instead of buying Haaland for 150 million, we should be buying 4 players who are well scouted, up and coming for £40 million. We should get 4 instead of 1. Rangnick's completely right. The second step is that the club must be prepared if they want to really win. If they are really aiming to win trophies, then they must do, of which we know there's probably 6 or 7 examples in that first team, they must let them go. They must force them out. They must sell them. They must take the financial hit. They'll never do that. And that is why I don't think we're going to win anything anytime soon. Hey Mark, remember how excited we were when Rangnick was appointed? What did we do wrong? Get Varane and Ronaldo, get Rangnick. What needs to happen, says Mark. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Rangnick. Rangnick's still a good appointment, but he's still working like this. Hello everybody. I have got 2 hands, just one's tied behind my back. Oh, and also I've also got a few knives in my back where I've been stabbed in the back by some of these players and coaches. 5 players you would purchase to win the league, says Al Nasser. Right, okay, look, I love these sort of things. So, the way back. Let's see if we can get some examples in the chat. The way back is this. Forget the Glazers, forget the false promises, forget the underperforming players. The season's over. We're in the Europa League or we're in the Champions League. Who cares? We've not won anything. What are we doing this summer? What's the way back? What is the way back? And this is my dedication to you. A bit of positivity. The way back for Manchester United is this. This summer, right? I am going to sell Maguire. I am going to sell him. Whatever I get, I get. I am probably going to sell Wan-Bissaka as well. I like both players really, but ultimately I just don't see a future there. So Matic is going as well. Mata's going as well. I'm going to sell Martial as well. I love Martial, but it's time. It's time to go. So that's 5 gone straight away. Fred's contract's up in a year. I'm not giving him a new one. Get rid of him. He's gone. So McTominay, you can stay as a squad player. And that's an important point about Fred. We're going to give Fred a new contract. What sort of message does that send? Nothing. I don't dislike Fred. If he's got 3 years left on his contract, he can stay as a squad player. But with 1 year left on his contract, I've got a decision to make. So there's 6 or 7 players out the door straight away. You know what I'm then going to do then? I probably am going to get someone like a Kanji. I'm going to get someone like Ruben Neves. That's probably 75 million. I'm going to get a striker, a younger striker. It could be that Nunes at Benfica. It could be Jonathan David. Someone like that. Okay? And I'm going to get another midfielder. I'm going to try and get a Renato Sanchez or someone like that. So, or I'm going to see what that Anthony's available for. It's either another midfielder or another winger. But I'm going to get 4 players. Okay, that's all I want, 4 players. I've got rid of some. I've got some in. And actually, if they get rid of some of the other players, I will get 5. I'll get a Sanchez and an Anthony. So I'll get a right winger, you know. What about the right back? You've just sold Wan-Bissaka. Well, I'm actually going to try Ethan Laird or something like that, you know. But next season, I want to go public. I've cleared some players out. I've brought some players in. Remember what Arsenal were like a year ago under Arteta? No one gave them a hope of top 4. Please do the same with us, because this is year 1. This is year 1. I'm not declaring title races. I'm not declaring we're going to win the Europa League or the Champions League. I'm not declaring we're going to win the Carabao Cup. This is day 1. I'm not here to talk about the past. You can see what's happened in the summer. There's been a lot of change. And in the future, there'll probably have to be more change. No job is getting done in 1 summer. We start. And that's it. That's the way back for United. None of this crappy talk about winning trophies. Just pure honesty. I need to get rid of 6 or 7 players. Some of it's going to be controversial. I need to bring 4 or 5 players in. And that's just the beginning. Let's see what we do this season. With, you know, not no expectation, but let's not set a limit. And then let's keep doing it, and let's keep doing it. But United will never do that because the brands won't like it, and the shareholders won't like it, and the owners won't like it. So we've always got to sell the future. But that's what we need. That would make me positive. You know what? I would be over the moon. I would be over the moon and optimistic and positive if that happened. If I saw 3 or 4 players that I didn't think we could sell go, and 3 or 4 players come in that are part of a future vision, and then, you know, a genuine reset, that would make me think that's the way back. Because I don't care what anybody says. I think we need a reset, and I think the rebuild will take 3 years. Maybe 2. Hi Mark, no chance you win a Super Bowl with bad management. Glazers have done it 2 times. Why are they sabotaging Manchester United's success with poor management, says D-Boosh. I think winning the Super Bowl is very different to winning the Premier League though, isn't it? You know, things are easier in the NFL because it almost accommodates a more level playing field. But even if it doesn't, American football is very different to Premier League football. Just some quick news I wanted to bring in anyway. The Mail is saying that Sam Johnston used to be here. I think he's at West Brom now. He's coming back to Manchester United in the summer. Romano is saying that Henderson will leave in the summer, could potentially go on loan. Van der Sar has said that Ajax were never in for Henderson. And Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic is saying that James Garner is expected to be given a chance at Manchester United next season. So quite a few things there. I mean, I don't know what our obsession is with bringing back ex-goalkeepers. I mean, is Ben Foster coming back soon? Because they'll get loads of YouTube clicks if they bring him back. So I don't know quite what we're looking at there. Kessie's apparently going to Barcelona, Richarlison. I mean, Barcelona are a prime example of how you can turn things around very, very quickly. I thought they were in the horrific position, and it's not even been 12 months, and yet they're rebuilding super fast. Decent coach, freedom to do what he wants. Things are looking good at Barcelona. They really are. So I don't know about the goalkeeper situation. The Garner situation, I'm a big fan of Garner, and you know, I was born in Nottingham, so I've got a lot of school friends who still live in Nottingham, and they go to watch Forest, some of them, and they never stop messaging me about Garner, saying, do you think we'll get him next year? Do you think we'll get him next year? And I say, to be honest, if you got promoted, I'd be happy for Garner to stay, because he's got to be in the Premier League next year. I don't know. It's the balance, isn't it? I don't think there's a right answer here with Garner. He's done really, really well. I don't think he's ready to play first-team football for United yet. In the next 18 months, I don't think he's ready to play week in, week out. So it becomes the question of, is it better for him next season to go on loan in the Premier League to a Brighton and play most weeks, or is it better for him to be with the first team and be on the bench most weeks? And to which the answer is, I'd probably lean towards the fact that him playing week out in the Premier League is probably better for his development. But if he was being introduced to the team, people forget that Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, David Beckham, they didn't just start for United every week. They would be like starting in a home game against Norwich, or a Carabao Cup game, or an FA Cup game, or coming on in the last 20 minutes when you're 2-0 up. If that was the path for Garner, I'd be happy with that. What I don't want people to think is that James Garner's going to start as our holding midfielder next season, because I think that is dangerous on more than one level. One, I don't think he's quite ready for that sort of level yet, and responsibility. And two, if he wasn't ready for that responsibility, because young players will dip. We've seen it with Alanga, it's like that. If he had a couple of bad games, would people write him off on socials? Would he be called shit, this, that and the other? It's so important that you get it right with the development of a player. And there's no guarantee that Garner's going to be good enough for United anyway. We must remember that. But if he is going to be good enough, we don't want to destroy that by getting the development wrong. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Garner. He's doing fantastically well. We've seen him play against Leicester and Arsenal, which are Premier League sides, and he's played in the midfield and he's played really, really well. But my personal feeling is just to hold back expectation a bit, because you know what? I might be completely wrong. He might start the season and play every week and become one of the greatest holding midfielders we've ever had, and that's the dream. But I don't want to chuck him into that if we're not sure about that and then ruin his development. So personally, I think I'd rather he went on loan to a Brighton next season and played 30, 40 games than be at United and just be like, what's happened with Mabry this year, where he's just not getting any game time, or what happened with Gomez and Chong, where they didn't get any game time. Arsenal thought Gabriel into the deep end and he made a few errors, but experience gained his worth. Whose errors when those same errors were made by the old players who needed to go? A great centre-back now, says Robinson Crusoe. And ability-wise, I think Garner's good enough for a chance at United. I just don't think it's the right environment for his development at the moment, says Joshua Bowser. And I think that's what worries me. Being a bit older than you, in the main, I specifically remember the class of 92 coming through. I remember Nicky Butts, who used to play with Keane and Ince, but he didn't play every week. I remember Beckham. I think Beckham I remember Beckham playing in 94, and he wasn't really a regular in the team until the 96 season. And the same with Gary Neville, with Paul Scholes. They didn't just get dropped in, you're going to play. It was like in, out, a little bit more. And in teams that were bloody good, that had Cantona in it, Steve Bruce in it, Roy Keane in it, that was competing for titles. At United, you're dropping them in, and like he's looking around and he's got underperforming centre back, underperforming fullback. Your development is very much and look, I know not a lot of people don't want to mention the name, but Greenwood, Rashford, they didn't develop over 3 years. They were capable of moments, but we didn't develop them. And was that because of the environment they were in? Was it just because of the coaching? So we've got to get it right. And the fortunate thing about United is the test case is always the class of 92. The way you develop players is how we did it with the class of 92. You don't just throw them into a team that's not performing. You gradually fill them in. You gradually feed them into a team that can nurture them. What would it take for you to support Arsenal, says Curries? I'm a Man United fan, mate. Even if we got relegated, even if we were in the National League, I'm a United fan. That's what it's all about. But, begrudgingly, it must be very exciting to be an Arsenal fan at the moment. That's what football's all about, isn't it? No right to be in the top 4 this year. Absolutely no right. We have to take it on the chin and be embarrassed if Arsenal get in top 4. And I'm not saying that's because Arsenal are bad. If Arsenal take that opportunity, well done. But I don't think many Arsenal fans thought they could get top 4 this season. And it just shows you, whatever you think about Arsenal, they've clearly backed their manager. I mean, I know we're coming towards the end of the show here, but look, there's a prime example there. Would Manchester United have let Arteta get rid of Aubameyang? No. No way. He's our biggest paid player. He's on the biggest wages. He's the most popular player in the team. No way are you letting Aubameyang go. You sort it out. That 100% would happen at United. They've let him go. They've let him swap his goalkeeper. They had Leno, who's a good goalkeeper. He's not quite right for me. I want Ramsdale. Fine. Bench Leno. We'll give you another goalkeeper. They have, and I know Arsenal fans don't like Kroenke and that, but they have given Arteta a lot of what he wanted, and they've also allowed him to get rid of players. I think he got rid of Ozil as well, didn't he? So, I hate to say it, but in many ways, Arsenal, I know it's not perfect at Arsenal. I've got Arsenal fans who'll tell me it's not perfect. But comparable to United, they are doing some of the things that we would never do. And on our way back, we need to do some of those things. You have to be able to go into that United dressing room and say, look, I don't care whether he's the captain or whether it's Cristiano Ronaldo or it's Bruno Fernandes. They're not quite right for me. There's a personality clash. There's a clash of the way I play football. Get them out of the club. And United board would say, no, they're too important to us socially or whatever like that. But at Arsenal, they've gone, okay, are you sure it's the right thing to do? Yeah. I saw Piers Morgan saying, Aubameyang scoring goals for Barcelona. And it's like, mate, your favourite's to get top 4. There's no argument about, it doesn't matter whether Aubameyang's scoring goals for PSG in a Champions League final. It's still a right decision for Arsenal to move him on because there was a conflict. He didn't suit. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. I've really enjoyed the show tonight, actually. And let me just give you a little bit of a warning for tomorrow. We'll have the morning show tomorrow. I do the either-ors. I've done Shaw against Telles. I've done Ronaldo against Cavani. We've done Maguire against Lindelof. Tomorrow, it's the big one. It's McFred. It's McTominay versus Fred comparison on their strengths and weaknesses. So we'll be doing that one tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Have a great day, evening or morning or whatever you're doing. And I'll see you tomorrow. Really enjoyed the show tonight. Some really good conversation. Really enjoyed it. And don't forget to check fans Thank you very much to fans for sponsoring the show. Links in the video description. Get involved in Motti's Top 50 using hashtag Motti's Top 50. And you can check out the fans Discord for more information. Links in there. Give it a click. Check it out. Please do. Thanks for watching.